Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Have you ever noticed how busy has become the most common word in our daily vocabulary? When we ask a friend how they are doing, the answer is almost always, "I am good, just really busy." We wear this busyness like a badge of honor. We fill our days with endless tasks. We rush from one minor job to the next. We hope that all this exhausting movement will finally lead us to success. But what if this constant rushing is actually a clever trap? What if your busy schedule is exactly what is keeping you stuck? Picture this familiar scene in your mind. It is 8 p.m. on a Tuesday evening. The only light in your room comes from the cold blue glow of your computer screen. You lean back in your chair. You rub your tired eyes, and you let out a long, heavy sigh. Your back aches. Your mind feels like a foggy cloud, and your physical energy is completely drained. You have been running around all day long. From the moment your alarm clock rang at 7 a.m., you have been in a state of constant, frantic movement. You answered dozens of emails. You attended 3 different meetings. You organized your desk. You replied to endless text messages. And you checked off a dozen small tasks on your daily to-do list. By all normal definitions, you were incredibly busy today. But as you sit there in the quiet of the evening, a very uncomfortable question quietly enters your mind. What did I actually achieve today? You look back at the last 12 hours of your life, and despite feeling completely exhausted, you realize that nothing truly important got done. The big project, the one that could actually advance your career, remains untouched. The creative idea you wanted to develop is still just a blank page. You moved a lot of papers around, but you did not actually move your life forward. This is a deeply frustrating feeling. And if you have ever felt this way, you are certainly not alone. In our modern world, we wear our busyness like a badge of honor. When an old friend asks how we are doing, our default answer is almost always, "I'm good. Just really busy." We say it with a hint of pride, as if being exhausted means we are important, successful, and valuable to society. But today, we are going to challenge that popular belief. We are going to explore a very uncomfortable truth. Being busy is not the same as being productive. In fact, being constantly busy is often a cleverly disguised trap. It is a comfortable illusion. We confuse motion with action. Motion is pacing back and forth in your bedroom. Action is walking out the front door toward a destination. Motion makes you sweat. Action actually gets you somewhere. Today, on English Mindcast, we are going to uncover why this illusion is so dangerous. We will explore how being too busy is secretly destroying your ability to focus on what truly matters. We will look at how our own brains trick us into choosing easy, meaningless tasks. They do this to avoid the friction of deep, important work. By the end of this story, you will understand how to step off this endless treadmill of busyness. You will regain control of your precious time. And you will finally start taking the actions that will lead to the life you truly want. Part 1. The story of David, the master of busy work. To truly understand how this trap works in our daily lives, let me tell you the story of a man named David. David is a highly intelligent, hardworking professional in his early 30s. If you looked at David's daily schedule, you would be deeply impressed. His digital calendar is beautifully color-coded. It is filled with blocks of tasks from morning until late at night. He is the kind of employee who replies to every single email within 5 minutes of receiving it. He keeps his physical workspace spotlessly clean. His pens are perfectly aligned next to his notebook. He attends every minor meeting. He takes careful notes. And he always volunteers to help his colleagues with small administrative favors. David's co-workers often look at him with admiration and ask, "How do you manage to do it all? You are always so busy." David smiles politely. But deep down, behind the neat desk and the empty email inbox, David is carrying a heavy, secret burden. You see, David has a beautiful dream. He is a talented graphic designer, and for the last 4 years, he has desperately wanted to start his own independent design agency. He wants to be his own boss. He wants to choose his own clients, and he wants to create art that truly inspires him. To make this dream a reality, there is only one major thing he needs to do. He needs to build a professional portfolio of his best work to show potential clients. That is the single most important action he can take. Yet, every weekend, when David finally has some free time to work on his portfolio, a strange thing happens. He sits down at his computer. He opens his design software, and he suddenly feels a wave of mild panic. The blank screen looks intimidating. The task feels huge and overwhelming. So, what does David do? He tells himself, I really need to focus on this portfolio, but my desk is a little messy. I should clean it first so I can think clearly. He spends an hour cleaning the room. Then, he remembers an email he forgot to answer on Friday. I will just send a quick reply, he thinks. That one email leads to checking his social media, organizing his digital files, and watching a quick tutorial video on productivity. By the time Sunday evening arrives, David is exhausted. He looks at his blank design software, sighs heavily, and says, Well, I didn't work on the portfolio, but I was so busy this weekend. I got a lot of other important things done. I will start the portfolio next week. This cycle repeats itself month after month, year after year. David is using his clean desk, his organized files, and his empty email inbox as a shield. He is hiding behind these small, meaningless tasks. He does this to avoid the hard, scary work of building his dream. He feels incredibly productive because he is always moving, always doing something. But the sad reality is that David is running as fast as he can on a treadmill. He is sweating, he is tired, but he is not moving forward. His dream is slowly dying. It is buried underneath a mountain of perfectly organized, completely unimportant busy work. Part 2. The psychology of productive procrastination. Why does David do this? Why do we do this? To solve this mystery, we must look closely at the hidden mechanisms of human psychology. What David is experiencing is a very common, very deceptive phenomenon. It is known as productive procrastination. We usually think of procrastination as something lazy, like lying on the sofa all day, watching television, sleeping, or playing video games. But productive procrastination is much more dangerous because it wears a clever disguise. It looks like work. It feels like work. But it is actually a form of hiding. Our brains are fascinating, complex machines, but they are also incredibly predictable. Your brain loves immediate rewards. When you complete a small, easy task, like replying to a short email, paying a simple bill, or organizing a stack of papers, your brain releases a tiny burst of a chemical called dopamine. Dopamine is the feel-good hormone. It gives you a quick sense of accomplishment. It makes you feel capable, in control, and safe. Your brain quickly learns to crave this easy dopamine, so it constantly pushes you towards small, trivial tasks that can be finished quickly. On the other hand, big, meaningful tasks, like starting a business, learning a difficult new language, writing a novel, or having a deep emotional conversation, do not offer quick rewards. These tasks are messy. They take a long time to finish. They require intense mental energy. And most importantly, they carry a high risk of failure. This is the real secret behind the busy trap. The fear of failure. Deep down in his subconscious mind, David is terrified that his design portfolio might not be good enough. He is scared that potential clients might reject his art. If he actually finishes the portfolio and fails, his ego will be crushed. So, his brain steps in to protect him. His brain whispers, "If you never finish the portfolio, you can never be rejected. Let's do something safe instead. Let's answer emails." By keeping himself constantly busy with minor tasks, David creates the perfect, socially acceptable excuse for his lack of progress. If someone asks why he hasn't started his agency yet, he doesn't have to admit that he is scared. He can simply say, "I just haven't had the time. I am too busy with my current job." And the most tragic part is that he actually believes his own excuse. Being busy becomes a thick, comfortable blanket that covers up his fear. It protects his ego, but it destroys his potential. He is trading the deep, lasting satisfaction of achieving his life's dream for the cheap, temporary dopamine of an empty email inbox. Part 3. The True Cost and the 80-20 Rule. When we fall into the trap of productive procrastination, we often fail to realize the heavy price we are paying. Time is the only resource in human existence that is truly finite. You can always earn more money. You can always make new friends, and you can always buy new things. But you cannot buy back a single second of your time. Every morning, you are given a bank account with exactly 24 hours in it. And at midnight, whatever you haven't used meaningfully is gone forever. This brings us to a harsh, undeniable truth about life. Every time you say yes to something trivial, you are silently saying no to something important. When David says yes to spending 2 hours organizing his perfectly clean desk, he is simultaneously saying no to spending 2 hours building his dream business. He thinks he is just managing his workspace, but he is actually managing his life away. We often forget that time spent on minor things is time stolen from major things. To escape this trap, we must understand and embrace one of the most powerful concepts in productivity and economics, the Pareto Principle, often known as the 80-20 rule. In the late 19th century, an Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto noticed a fascinating pattern in society. He observed that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by just 20% of the population. Over the years, researchers discovered that this invisible mathematical ratio applies to almost everything in our lives. In business, 80% of a company's profits usually come from just 20% of its customers. In your closet, you probably wear 20% of your clothes 80% of the time. And most importantly, in your daily life, 80% of your meaningful results, success, and happiness will come from just 20% of your actions. The tragic mistake that most of us make, the mistake that David makes every single day, is that we spend the vast majority of our precious time stressing over the 80% of tasks that yield almost no real results. We exhaust ourselves replying to unimportant messages, attending meetings where we do not need to speak, and polishing things that are already good enough. We major in minor things. The true cost of being too busy is that it blinds you to your 20%. It hides the handful of vital, difficult, and highly impactful actions that could actually transform your life. If you want to change your trajectory, you must stop measuring your worth by how many hours you work, and start measuring it by how much time you dedicate exclusively to your top 20%. Part 4. 3 Gentle Shifts to Escape the Busy Trap. Recognizing the trap is the first step, but how do we actually escape it? How do we step off the exhausting treadmill of endless busy work? You do not need to make drastic, overwhelming changes to your life. In fact, attempting to change everything at once will only trigger more fear and send you running back to the comfort of your inbox. Instead, you can escape the trap by implementing 3 gentle, actionable shifts in your daily routine. Shift 1. Eat the frog first. There is a famous quote often attributed to the writer Mark Twain. If it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning. The frog is a metaphor for your most difficult, most important task. The 20% task that you are most likely to avoid. For David, His frog is opening his design software and creating one piece of art for his portfolio. Tomorrow morning, before you check your email, before you look at social media, and before you clean your desk, dedicate your first hour of energy to eating your frog. Do the hard thing first. Once the frog is eaten, a massive weight is lifted from your shoulders. The rest of the day becomes significantly easier. And even if you do nothing else, you have already won the day. Shift 2. Create a not-to-do list. We are all obsessed with to-do lists. We love adding tasks to them. But to protect your time, you must become aggressively protective of your boundaries. Take a piece of paper and write down a not-to-do list. Identify the specific habits that drain your time and give you the illusion of productivity. Your list might include: do not check emails before 10 a.m. Do not attend meetings if there is no clear agenda. Do not reorganize digital folders when I feel stressed. By clearly defining what you will refuse to do, you automatically create vast amounts of open space for the work that truly matters. Shift 3. Schedule stillness. The reason we run from task to task is that we are afraid of the quiet. In the quiet, we are forced to listen to our own thoughts. And we might realize we are walking down the wrong path. To cure the disease of busyness, you must prescribe yourself daily stillness. Schedule 15 minutes a day where you do absolutely nothing. Do not read. Do not look at your phone. Do not listen to music. Just sit quietly with a notebook. Stillness is where true clarity happens. You cannot see the right path if you are constantly sprinting. Give your mind the silent space it needs to separate the essential from the useless. Part 5. The final open loop. As we reach the end of our story today, take a moment to pause and reflect on your own life. Look closely at the tasks that currently fill your days. Being busy is incredibly easy. Anyone can fill their calendar with noise, minor obligations, and comfortable distractions. Society will even applaud you for it. They will call you hardworking and dedicated. But deep down, in the quiet moments before you fall asleep, you will always know the absolute truth. You will know whether you spent your day building your dream or simply sweeping the floor around it. Being truly focused, on the other hand, is remarkably hard. It requires a tremendous amount of courage. It demands that you sit with the discomfort of a blank page, the anxiety of a new challenge, and the terrifying possibility of failure. It requires you to look at a messy desk and decide that your future is far more important than having organized pens. Right now, you are standing at a critical crossroads. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up and the world begins to pull at your attention, you will have a choice to make. You can choose the familiar, well-worn path of the treadmill. You can open your inbox. You can react to other people's emergencies. And you can spend another day as a highly efficient slave to trivial things. You can go to sleep tomorrow night feeling exhausted, yet exactly in the same place you started. Or you can choose the path of courage. You can choose to stop hiding behind the comfortable illusion of motion. You can identify the one action, the scary, important, vital 20% task that holds the key to your growth. Do not let this just be a story you listen to while staying comfortably in your safe zone. I want you to make a commitment right now. Identify your specific frog. What is the one major task you have been avoiding by keeping yourself busy? Write it down in the comments below to make it real. Share it with this community. Tomorrow morning, do not clean your desk. Do not check your notifications. Sit down, face the friction, and eat that frog. Step off the treadmill of busyness and start walking purposefully toward the life you truly desire. Your best life is waiting for you. But you will never reach it if you are too busy running in place.